2 prismatics. Nice.
I need more pockets.
Hey, what's up guys? Koga here again with another build, this time a Poison BV Assassin. Now, I have never played Blade Vortex in my life simply because back then I used to have 50 blades and I hated the fact that you had to sit there and spam it. It didn't look a lot of fun or smooth, but then I completely forgot that they made it down to 10 blades. So now that Unleash exists, and it's been existing for a while now, I just completely forgot that it does. With your seals, one cast can summon like around 4 blades. Once you see it run out, see 5 blades, summon it, you're back at 8. So you only have to cast it once while mapping, and then like little twice or 3 times while doing single target. So it's actually really smooth, and now I'm kind of like in love with it because it's super freaking sick and a lot of fun. So there's 3 things I wanted to encounter with this, not encounter, fix with this build, with this kind of architect, I guess, theme. Was a lot of Poison BV characters are very expensive because they try to get explosion either through the Ascendancy chant, which are currently sitting about 4.x. If I go quickly search it up into the market, and these gloves are quite nice for the build, but for the price and what they do, I do not think they're worth it, and there's other ways of getting it. As you can see here, they're like 4.3x. They used to be 10 exalts, but now they're cheaper, and what makes them good is basically enemies killed near corpses affected by your curses explode, dealing 3% of their maximum as physical, right? And it does have curse on hit, which is very nice, since the change does give your poison duration, your poison more duration. But for 4 exalts, I don't think they're worthwhile, and I'll explain to it now. And the other way was I made the build cheaper. I still got explosions, but I wanted to stay around the same amount of damage, which I did. Another thing I wanted to fix was a lot of assassin builds out there have a low survivability. As you guys can see here, it makes sense because assassins have anything on the right side of this really has a low life. So now, Poison BV technically always goes Eldritch Battery, but not really as a source of a life pool, more as a source of just being able to retain all your mana and get more damage, and just have 200 mana or 300 ES mana, aka mana, that you can have left over in order for you to start casting without having to worry about, your mana pool, right? But I'm like, you know what? I have enough damage from the cluster jewels and everything, so I went straight for Mind Over Matter, and I stacked a lot of hybrid nodes. Taking things like Written in Blood and Melving, which are hybrid nodes for life and ES. So what I did is I used to get a chest piece like this with a gain 10% max life, which is what I usually do. It's kind of cool trick in most of my builds. And that alone gives me, as you see here, it goes from 686 ES to about 1,900, and does give me about 400 HP. So this thing is a massive defense boost, right? And it's super cheap because now that fusings are like basically dirt, I guess, because you can, for 1 exalt, you can get 900 something fusings, right? And that means you can literally 6-link anything you want for about 2 exalts per se, or if you're lucky you can just spend an exalt and try to sync it yourself. But yeah, hey, give or take, this one I did get lucky in, but some other choices I did have to spend 2 exalts on a Faded Connections Prophecy. But either way, what I did was just buy on the market with life, increased maximum life, and 2 reses, and that means it has an open prefix and an open suffix. For the suffix, I just went and crafted Aspects of Spider using the Venomous of the First Night, but for the prefix I went and crafted gain 10% of extra ES from your life. Right, so gist of it, how are we getting our pops? Well, if you guys know Profane Blue from Occultist, Occultist is quite nice. But the problem with Profane Bloom is that it's only on Occultist, and Occultist does not provide anything for poison. If it like it does chaos related stuff, but more for damage over time, not for poison related, because you do have to stack it. The only things you can go with that is either an assassin or a pathfinder, and assassin being the best because of the movement speed and it has more damage. So the way we do it is with this unspeakable gifts here, as you guys can see here from this cluster jewel. You have a 10% chance to explode. Enemies you could have a 10% chance to explode, dealing quarter of their maximum life as chaos damage. One is not enough, so you do have to stack it twice, making it 20%. Because you know, 1 out of 5 enemies is way higher than 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 didn't feel like anything. It basically never popped. While having 2 of them, it felt like it always was popping. Very nice, right? So for a jewel, all you're looking for is unspeakable gifts with overwhelming malice for the unholy might. Gives a lot of damage. I'll be able to get this in the rebirth, right? You don't really need a touch of cruelty, but it is quite nice because it does mean that enemies take 10% increased damage while hindered, and your wither totem does hinder the enemy. But you can get an abyssal jewel on your belt that gives you a chance to hinder on hit. I didn't bother with it because it's not really necessary. And then the other cool trick is that this other cool note here for your medium jewels is this combination of low tolerance and wasting affliction. These two combined are more expensive, so if you can try to get like I don't know, like circling oblivion and low tolerance, and then maybe wasting affliction with hemorrhage. I'm not really sure which one's a prefix, which is a suffix, keep in mind, right? So keep whatever combination that exists, you want to go with that one. But these two combined are a little bit expensive, but I did craft them myself. Low tolerance is amazing because that means poisons you inflict on non-poisoning enemies deal 300% increased damage. So the first poison you inflict on the enemy, because I usually just, you know, whirling blades and just whirl right through them. I don't have phasing. Will do a lot of damage, so one whirl is probably enough the majority of the time to just kill them and explode them, an entire pack. And what's cool about that is because since we do more damage initially, Plague Bear, which basically you get starts at 0 and then maxes out, scales like quick off 1 pack all the way to max because our first poisons deal 300% increased damage. And it's absolutely amazing because that means Plague Bear is up literally like 99% of the time. And Plague Bear itself can you know, kill enemies and cause them to explode, which is very, very nice, as it has more AoE than your Blade Vortex. And the other one is Wasting Affliction, as it does give you damaging elements deal 10% faster. This is not more damage, guys, it's more DPS. It basically means that instead of dealing 100 damage per tick for 10 seconds, you're probably doing like 140 damage per tick for like 8 or 7 seconds, something like that. I don't really know the math, but it just lowers the duration but increases the damage per tick. You're doing the same amount of damage over a shorter period of time, so it's more for like just making the build feel like you're killing things quicker. And was that we get 10% there, another 10% there, and another 5% here, which makes it for about 25%, and it makes the build feel really, really smooth. So I highly recommend it. And if you're the small GUI, he's got, you know, whatever you want. I got life. 20 vitality is quite nice for a little region. And for the other one, we don't need another you know, another holy might. We only need one of these for overwhelming malice. So I went and got instead a wicked pow for the skill effect duration, because you want your blade vortex to last as long as possible. Another speakable gifts, obviously, and then you don't need another touch of cruelty. And for the medium jewel, it was hemorrhage and circling oblivion are your 2 best damage sources. And then for this one, I didn't want to get another small jewel because I don't have enough passives, so I just got you know, just a regular jewel and just stuck it in there. With, you know, with a little bit of poison damage, global fizz, and maximum life. I actually found that myself, right? But if you look at the tree, it's basically just life or multi crit, you know, basically a little, obviously the jewel sockets, a little bit of damage over time, hybrid nodes, more spell crit, and then I passed all the way here and get mind over matter. Now, because with mind over matter and this amount of ES and life, we have over 6,000 HP, but I think it's actually over, it's almost over 6,500. It's about 6,300, right? Which makes your build feel a lot more tankier, because you do, you know, like if you haven't taken that one big hit, you're not going to die as often. So the build still dies, but nowhere near as much as a usual poison BV build. But yeah, in the POV, you're going to see though, I did drop these two because I don't think it's worthwhile, and his life node at level 91, and went for touch for Force Shaper, because it is more damage and it does give attack speed, which is quite nice for warding blades. Right now, as an assassin, you want, the first thing you want to pick up is Mistwalker while you're leveling, so you can level up quicker. However, if you don't, you know, if this is like your 3rd character and you already have all the leveling stuff, do pick up the poison first. But for me, I went Mistwalker for the, you know, cast speed and movement speed, then Noxious Strike and Toxic Delivery for the poison stuff, and then Opportunistic for movement speed and single target. Right. Moving on to our, let's say our gear. The damage you want not damage, weapon you want is a cold iron point, because it has no rolls at all, so they're very cheap. You can get one, try to get one non-corrupted, but if the corrupted ones are cheaper for you, go ahead and buy one. What I have here is basically faster attacks, fortify, and whirling blades are basically our main movement skill. Right, you can't corrupt it for more damage, it's up to you, but like the increased damage over time. Your second one, you do highly want a Benos, and I highly recommend it because it has poison prolif. So when you kill a poison enemy, the poison starts spreading to the rest of the pack. So as one enemy gets poisoned, if that enemy explodes, the explosion costs another thing to poison and causes a chain reaction, and it's so freaking nice. And I like it way better than the Ascendancy chant, because the Ascendancy gentle touch, I'm sorry, the gloves, because you kind of have to kill an enemy and then the corpses fall, and then anything near those corpses then die and then cause it. So it's slower. I don't feel like the explosions are as big, and it's much cheaper to use what I'm doing, which I'll show you quick. So basically, you don't have to curse the enemy. The enemy can die from anything as long as it's coming from you, and they'll explode, which is very nice. And here I do have cast some damage taken, steel skin, and some nice lightning golem. I didn't want to put anything that's crazy here that's going to be expensive, because I do swap it out with another cold iron point when I do single target for the same gems. And these gems, you know, like you can level them up while you're like level friggin' 50, so they're not expensive at all. However, if you do not want to deal with swapping, you can just do this, and you should have plenty of damage anyway. But I like having my max damage, right? For your boots, you just want life and res. I found these myself, thank friggin' Lord. So I just used them. You kind of want more energy shield, but you know, at 1900 ES, that's good enough. You don't need more than that. Right, your belt, life and res. Rustic Sash is good because it has increased physical damage, but you do want a Stygian Vise over this because it is better, because you can get an Abyssal Jewel with like his damage, his spells, or damage over time with more ES or live. You can even get that thing I was talking about if you do have Touch of Cruelty, to get a chance to hinder enemies with your spells on hit. It's really good, but they're more expensive, of course. And of course, you can look for like a Stygian Vise fossil crafted with chaos damage or fizz. And the cool thing, so we're not using the Ascendancy gentle touch. What do we use is a Hands of the Tide Templar. These are the other gloves where you can get cursed enemies level temp chains on hit, whatever, very easily for cheap, because a lot of people are corrupting these because that's their nature. They should be corrupted, right? And I happen to cop these with 3 wide sockets, a perfect spell crit, and increase AoE with the temp chains on hit for an exalt. When I bought them, all the temp chains were about an exalt, but it might be cheaper now. I haven't checked, but all you really need is temp chains on hit. You don't need the rest of it, but it did help a lot with the build. So if you can, I highly recommend looking for the curse on hit with the spell crit. That'd probably be the best thing. You don't really need the AoE gems at all, since it only affects Plague Bearer. But here I have dash. Since we do whirling blades for our clear, if we do have a ledge, whirling blades can't go above ledges. We use dash for that reason. With second wind, of course, we can spam it twice. Plague Bearer, so that amazing clear speed and increase AoE. Plague Bearer is not supported by damage. You can only support it by increased area effect. Keep that in mind. So don't start putting damage sources in there. Right, and then our helmet, Devouring Datum, the beautiful Devouring Datum. It saves you 3 points, right, by not having to take Eldritch Battery in the tree. It gives you ES, of course, and it gives you a lot of reduced mana reservation and +1 to slot gems. So here I put all my auras, Summon Skitterbosh for the chill and the shock, Herald of Agony for the poison chance and poison damage, and Malevolence for poison damage. I have a level 4 Enlighten. I did buy one because they're cheaper than they usually are. They usually like around 5x. So with a level 4, it's perfectly perfect, you know, like amazing, and it fits perfectly at 0 mana. So it's basically, it's 100% reservation. However, if you have a level 3, you do not have enough, and you do have to spend a point on this. So keep that in mind. So in that case, you know, like in this build, you probably drop Touch of Cruelty and get this. If you do want to get Force Shaper, then you have to drop some other stuff. But you do need a point on this in order for it to actually work. And that's what I did for a longer time. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, that's basically my auras. As for your chance pieces, what I said before, you want to get maximum life, increase maximum life with 2 reses, have an open prefix suffix, so you can craft maximum life as extra ES, right, from the craft. It costs like 4 chaos to craft, and then craft Aspects of Spider with the Venomous of the First Night. Really cheap, 6 link it yourself, and you're good to go, bro. And remember, a lot of the things that you saw there in the gameplay is actually a 5 link. So you really need it for clear, as Plague Bearer will carry you along the way very, very easily. And you're gonna have Blade Vortex. I just got a level 21 Vol because they're pretty cheap. The level 21, the Vol 21 20% qualities are expensive. That's up to you if you want to buy. I just got a level 21 with no quality. Unleash, no way we can, you know, stack up quicker. Initial Leech, because it does affect our mana, and it basically gives a lot of sustainability. And with the regen from that, from our Benos, and you know, Surging Vitality from the tree, we're pretty tanky in terms of regen. We don't often die that much unless it's a massive one shot or just you get gangbanged by how many fucking enemies are on the screen. But the more damage while leeching does affect the poison, so I highly recommend it. And then Vile Toxins, Deadly Elements, and Unbound. These are all amazing damage sources. As you can see here, there's no awakened gems, there's no 20% quality. This is a very, standalone. I leveled up myself, and it absolutely destroys all the content in the game. Do not need to affect it to buy those gems, but if you do want more damage, go ahead and it's up to you. Right, and as for your jewelry, I found this ring myself. It's just a ring with a lot of life and a lot of resistances that I found myself, and I covered damage. And that's pretty much it. That's all it is. This ring is kind of expensive because it's the double damage. You want the chaos while affected by Herald of Agony with buff effects. If you can only choose one, please pick the buff effect, because as you guys can see here, my chance to poison with BV is 99%, and that's because Herald of Agony gives you 20% chance to poison and 10% more damage with poison. But if you have around here a 98% buff effect, it now gives you about a 39% chance to poison and about 19% more poison damage, which is really good, making Herald of Agony basically one of our highest damage sources, and capping out our poison without the use of Corralitos. Because Corralitos, of course, it gives you 25% chance to poison, but since we're not a Pathfinder, I hate relying on it if it does run out. So I highly recommend it to get for the buff effect first, and then get the chaos damage once you have the money. And this one costs you about 2x, and I happen to cop it with damage of elements, so it's even a bit more damage there. And then the other thing here, right? A lot of people use the Impresence with the chaos thing on it. It allows your I think, what is it, despair on your blasphemy to cost no mana. I don't like it. I don't recommend it. It does not give you as much damage as an amulet like this. It costs around the same or more than an amulet like this, right? And you have to waste 2 gems on your gem links for the blasphemy and despair. When this freaking thing exists, Witchfire Brew, which gives you the smoke cloud for blinds, so you have 50% evasion there, against melee hits and stuff like that. Damage over time extra damage over time, and a level 21 despair. Like, come on, guys. There's no reason for you guys to really use a thing when such a perfect flask exists, especially since we're melee. We're gonna be on top of the boss anyway. It's gonna affect them with the curse. Something like this does give a lot more damage, crit multi, and chaos damage over time multiplier. If you can, just drop the crit multi and you get damage over time multiplier. That's all you really look for. I got that with life. I don't really do the strength, and then I had an open prefix, so I crafted ES, which gives me about another 100 ES. However, you do notice that we do have 2 curses, and the way I do it is with Whispers of Doom, and that's why I anointed. This is the other part that's kind of expensive, is it costs 2 gold oils, so it costs about, depending on the price, about an exalt and a half for this thing to, for you to craft it. But it's better than getting an additional curse on a chest piece, So I highly recommend it, and I found that that's probably the best way, in my opinion, to get an additional curse. Now, for your flask, I already went over 2 of them, the Witchfire Brew and the Corralitos. But you basically want a silver flask because it does give you onslaught, gives you attack speed and movement speed, and since Whirling Blades is our main, source of movement, it does scale with attack speed. This is kind of what I do instead of getting a Quicksilver. An Eternal Life Flask with bleed removal. The recovery when on low life actually comes in handy quite a lot. So when you're damaged, when you're about to die, you pop it. It covers 4,000 HP because it's 100% increased recovery. Not rate, it's actually recovery amount. So surprisingly, it's really good. Corralitos obviously for the damage and chance to poison, Witchfire Brew for the extra curse, and Aziri's Promise for the extra 20% physical damage, extra chaos. Don't worry about the elemental. All you really give a shit about is the 20% physical, so try to get that capped out at the highest. It does a lot of damage and gives you a little bit of life leech as well for sustainability. Right, and I believe that covers it. I didn't cover the jewel socket for your for my boots. It's faster casting with multiple totems, spell totem, and wither. So that's basically your wither totem setup, so it does a lot of damage. I think I skipped over that. Right, and then moving on to your bandits, you want Alera. You can go for 2 passes if you want, but Alera is better because I kind of have a hard time capping res all the time, and the crit multi does affect our damage, so I'm wide as well. Do it. And as for your Pantheon, you want to get Brine King so you don't get stunned to hell. And Soshikari, I haven't really done this, but you do want the immune to poison. I just haven't done it, and that way it doesn't affect your regen. Otherwise, those are pretty much the cluster jewels that I spoke about. Everything's in the POB down below, guys. And this was a lot of fun, so I hope you guys enjoy it. It's kind of my budget version of one of the meta builds. Getting the satisfying pops that are way better, in my opinion, than the physical ones because they sound so much better. But yeah, I hope you guys like the build. I'll leave it to the other Leo to close it out. See you guys later. Well, guys, that pretty much covers the gist of the build. I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. It's a lot of fun, and honestly, I think this build has been a great success. It's done everything, good damage, good to clear, and for a pretty decent price. So if you guys want to try it out, please do let me know what you guys think, and if you see any improvements, I would love to hear it. It could be something I could do in the future for other builds. But yeah, on top of that, if you guys don't know, I do stream on twitch.tv/colgaras. However, I used to stream on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, but I kind of did something a little change to see how that works. As far as been kind of good. So now I stream on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays only on a back-to-back schedule. That way I have more energy and I can stream a lot, for longer periods of time. It's a lot more fun for me. I get to enjoy the game a lot more. If you guys want to hang out and talk, you're more welcome to come and join and have some fun. But until next time, hope you guys enjoyed the build, and I'll catch you in the next build guide.